I think for me, we make a great effort to get things that nobody else has. So then you're kind of exposed to something new, but we try to package it in a way that's familiar.
You got to keep it fresh. Because I don't want to repeat a course for a client unless they ask for it.
I just like to take people to new places and new areas, and I leave creative discretion up to the chef. I just let them flow with it, and I think that's the best way to do it when I'm bringing people into a new experience.
It's about education and finding ways to make it approachable and accessible.
You're going to start in the dish area, which is the best place to start, because now you know what tools are available, what the cleanliness level should be, where everything goes. Then you can come into the kitchen and start.
Welcome to the Milwaukee Flavor podcast presented by Visit Milwaukee. I'm your host, Miranda Allison, Performance Marketing Manager with Visit Milwaukee.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Jamar Jones. I'll be the co-host for this amazing show. And we're going to have some awesome guests that will be presenting all on the show. So I can't wait to get in the conversation all around the culinary arts. And I'm the founder of Forever Media, a national keynote speaker, and the author of the book Change Your Circle, Change Your Life.
My name's Adam Kemmler. I'm the executive chef of 1033 in Walker's Point.
Samantha Mitchell, I'm the founder of Samantha Star Events and Milwaukee's Battle of the Chefs competition, along with Dinner with Friends.
Sweet. And this show is really about celebrating Milwaukee.
We forgot one.
Oh my goodness, David, you got to jump in, my man. You gotta just go ahead, David.
I'm Chef David Magnasco, owner and operator of the Chef's Table in Walker's Point.
Awesome, man. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here on the show today. And we're going to get into some really good conversation. And this show is really all about celebrating Milwaukee's culinary arts and all different backgrounds and walks of life. So I'm really excited to get into some conversations. First, let everybody know what is a day in the life of like in your worlds and what happens. Like I just need to know from a chef's perspective, from events, and from another chef, like what is a day in the life? David, you want to start?
Sure. Well, I'm sitting in my kitchen right now, and I also live above the restaurant, so my commute is pretty awesome. Thanks for letting me zoom in today.
Yeah.
So I usually, we have a puppy, so I usually get up at about 5:30 and let the puppy out and do a little news reading, and I get into the kitchen here about 9 o'clock and start prepping for the day. And sometimes we have luncheons. It's mostly dinners, multiple events in the different rooms throughout the space. And then we usually start service, depending on arrival, between 5:30 and 7 o'clock. And with the 5 different spaces, we might have scattered arrivals. And so we can have like 5 groups at the same time.
Nice. And then how do you end in your day? What's the end of your day look like?
Another glass of champagne.
So champagne in the morning for the people that didn't know about that.
Got a bookend it here.
Champagne at night to cap it off. That's a nightcap, right?
And then let the dog out one last time. And it's usually 11 to 12 o'clock when I get upstairs.
Okay, cool. Samantha, what about you?
It varies day to day. So if I'm pretty busy with client events, I have my days planned out with my creative juices in the morning, and in the afternoon, it's a little bit more of the admin side.
Yeah.
Because I'm an early bird, so my my mind it thrives very early.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I have my own events in between. So, there could be some planning for that, doing some social media posting, which,
Yeah.
whew, that's a whole beast right there. Venue tours,
Yeah.
I like to keep up with what's new and what's going on around here.
Yeah.
Dining in between, obviously. I'm
Yeah.
always at a restaurant, even if I'm by myself. I'm going somewhere, trying something new.
Nice.
So yeah, that's day to day in general, but how fast that can change.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be an entrepreneur, like
Yeah, like you never know.
it can move.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, cool. Adam, what about you?
For me, it's long days. I just had a son 5 months ago.
Oh,
So-
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, thank you. So the days start early, and then Tuesdays I usually get in around 9. We're not open, so it's kind of a prep admin day, kind of see the week reservations. And then Wednesday through Saturday we're open at 4:30. So just kind of gearing up for that. We have a really tiny space, so lots of moving things around and trying to figure it all out. But R&D on new dishes and just kind of reaching into everything and trying to keep it relevant and fresh and new.
Yeah.
And I only have one cook, so it's just me and him, and we just bang it out.
You just
Get it? And sometimes, if that cook can't make it, then it's just me. And
Yeah.
those days
Oh my
are
gosh.
long days. So, yeah.
Wow. That's it. That's incredible. So I want to kind of talk about the dining experience. Like, how in your minds, how do you all, and this could be a free-flowing conversation, but how do you all make sure that you have a great dining experience?
I think for me, we make a great effort to get things that nobody else has. So then you're kind of exposed to something new, but we try to package it in a way that's familiar.
Okay.
I got monkfish livers in, and I made it into it works.
Monkfish livers?
Wow.
Monkfish livers. So it
Is that
works
edible?
just.
Right.
Oh yeah. They call it the. He can tell you. Yeah. It eats like foie gras and it works
my
like foie gras,
goodness.
but
Yeah.
it's not. It's a lot more fishy. So that's a little like, whoa, what's that about? So I
Yeah.
stuffed it into a crepe. And people know crepes, man. So
Yeah.
it's like,
First of
I'll
all,
get a crepe.
crepes are thin, though. How do you stuff that in? Is it like a...
We just fold it up.
Oh, you just
Yeah,
fold
you
it
just
up. Oh,
throw
okay,
it in there,
okay.
fold
Gotta
it,
be
put,
gentle.
Yeah, you gotta be real
yeah,
gentle.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
like paper, man.
But like something like that's interesting. It's, it can be intimidating, and Milwaukee is a foodie city, but that's kind of out there.
Yeah.
So it puts it in a way that's more like comprehensible to you. So it's like, okay, I feel comfortable to eat this. And I think our space is so small
Yeah.
that there's this inherent trust factor because you see everybody there.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have a question, you can just be like, hey chef, what's up with this? And I'll just come over and be like, I'll tell you all about it and let you know all the details about it. So I think there's a trust factor with the guests too, but just trying to keep it relevant and bring things that other people haven't ever seen before in their life.
Ah, that's cool.
If I can jump in,
Yeah, please.
so we're event based, and so we can do from 2 to 4 people in the wine cellar, up to 70 in the grand space for sit down. We can do 150 for heavy hors d'oeuvres and cocktails in the warmer months with the use of the courtyard in the back. My favorite thing is the client comes in and does a site visit, and we sit down and talk about the whole evening, or if it's a brunch, and we talk about the menu. So I'm like, okay, so what do you like? It's usually couples, or corporate. What do you like? What do you dislike? Are there dietary restrictions? What's the price point? And then we create a menu with them, 5 to 7 courses with wine pairings. When they show up, whatever it is, 30 people at the Grand, the table's already set. Everyone's going to have the same thing. The menu's on the table, and it creates a different experience where normally you're having that if you go to a wedding, and it's 3 courses, but sometimes there's choices. The only choices would be if they said they had a dietary restriction. and we get so basically we're changing the menu every day. And with the 5 different spaces, if we have 5 different groups, we'll try to build the smaller tables off of the main space and what they're having. And then, but we could sub in here and there. If it's a 2-top, we could add a few more courses, which is really fun. But it does, Adam said it, there's a trust factor.
Yeah.
And we've been talking to the client ahead of time, and sometimes it's like, well, I don't know, lamb could be risky, and I'm like, well, it's spring, let's do lamb. And we get people coming up to the kitchen because it is open to the dining room, and I do come out between courses, or someone from the culinary and talk about
Cool.
the course, and then also the Sam or the maitre d' will talk about the wine and why we think it pairs together well. Let everyone else make their decision on that. So there's an education benefit as well to it. So it is that's what we do on a regular daily basis. And it's really fun. People get really excited to dine here. I have people come up to the kitchen and say, I would never have ordered any of that, but it's the best meal I've ever had.
Oh, wow. That's a compliment.
So I do have a question kind of related to that. I've heard and I've seen in the past people talk about, Milwaukee's culinary scene was very safe for a long time. And just now you get restaurants like 1033 and the Chef's Table that are experimenting with new foods like monkfish livers. How, I guess, more for you, David, how has your menu changed over the course of time of you being in Milwaukee, and how have you seen that reception change?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have a lot of repeat diners as well that book different things. We've got corporate groups that sometimes we see them 3 times a month. And, we've been open for a little over 10 years now. So you got to keep it fresh. Because I don't want to repeat a course for a client unless they ask for it. And then we'll repeat it. And so we do try to push the envelope a little bit with people. But a lot of times, there's a safety net there. It's their, it's a couple's rehearsal dinner, and they're like, well, grandma and Uncle Paul and cousin, Johnny, whatever, sister Susie, we can't do all that. Let's rein it in a little bit. So we'll still push the envelope a little bit, but still try to keep it safe for them, and maybe put a few things in. 5 to 7 courses, you can still toss things in and pepper it, where you're pushing people out of their comfort zone, but in an easy way.
Right. And for you,
I mean, I can't wait to try the monkfish liver.
yeah,
Come on in.
I was just gonna say, Adam,
Let me
there
know when
are
that's
so
on the
many
menu, 'cause
unique
I'm coming.
things. There are just so many unique things on the menu there, and how has that reception been for Milwaukeeans and visitors? And really, what is the dining experience you provide here in Milwaukee compared to, I guess, like eaters in Pittsburgh, where you're from? Like, could you experiment the same, or do you feel
No. Pittsburgh's a little bit more sheltered off because it's kind of off on its own. Like we were talking before, it's like Cleveland's the closest thing, and they have a good food scene, but it's very safe back home, very blue collar meat and potatoes, which is a part of my repertoire now because that's what I'm from. But I think Milwaukee diners are a lot more receptive to these things because a lot of the things we have, if we were in Chicago, you wouldn't even bat an eye at it. Chicago diners would see it as pretty commonplace. And I think that's the next step for Milwaukee diners. I always say it's like they're on the edge of the diving board, but their knees are shaking a little bit and they're scared of the pool. They're scared to jump in. And Dave said it good. It's about education and finding ways to make it approachable and accessible. So you can come in, it's a 30-70 rule is what they typically say. Have 30% of your menu be a little bit out there, and then have the other 70% like, okay, this is for grandma, this is for grandpa. So that way you can sprinkle in those interesting things, and it's not as intimidating. And especially I think a big piece of that is our raw bar, because you order everything a la carte. You only have to get one of those things. If you, like I serve raw prawns. If you want a raw prawn, you only have to try one. you don't have to do more than one. And that's not something you find in Milwaukee.
Right.
For sure. But people love them. That was my first like addition to the menu that was like, let's see how far I can take this and get away with it. But now I get live crabs in from Japan. They're like this big. They come in live, and they're live up until the point that they're not.
Yeah.
But we fry them, and they like strike these little poses. So when you order them, you get 3 per order. And we set them on the plate, so they're kind of sitting there like, you know, I call them crabshin figures because they're. I encourage guests just grab them and play with them on the counter. But they're super tasty and they're really good. But you get that visual, and people are like, "Whoa!" But then you taste it, and you're like, "Okay, this is awesome." Then I'll go over there and tell you about them and how we source them and how we take care of them.
Gotcha.
So it's just it's that trust and education, and our advantage is again that I'm right there, or any member of our staff is right there. Our front of the house is very knowledgeable. Because we make them knowledgeable. And like it just kind of puts everybody at ease. So you can jump into the pool and be like, I'm good. It's cool and refreshing.
Like me in swimming lessons, my mom used to like, just push her over.
Yeah.
You're going to learn one day. You're going to learn.
You'll figure it out.
And how does that work for your experiences? So you craft experiences all over the place, from dining experiences, but also events. So how do you curate an amazing experience for the customers that will come in and have a great dining experience?
I don't tell them. I don't tell them what's on the menu beforehand. You know, that whole push them in thing. I do that because you know they're trying something new. It will be out of most people's comfort zone. I like to go to different local restaurants. I just had my last dinner with friends at the chef's table in the Speakeasy.
Oh, nice!
And that menu was phenomenal. So I just like to take people to new places and new areas, and I leave creative discretion up to the chef. I do get all the dietary restrictions and allergies and all that stuff, but I just let them flow with it, and I think that's the best way to do it when I'm bringing people into a new experience. You're just going right into it. And I get a lot of positive feedback with that, too. They're like, oh, my God, I would have never tried this if I wasn't at this dinner, or if I didn't go to Battle of the Chefs. You know, I wouldn't have known about this place, too. So it's a little bit of both. You know, I'm bringing people to new places, introducing all that. New menu items, new foods, new experiences.
Is there any monk liver?
There hasn't been monk liver yet.
We can make that happen. I can make that happen for you.
I'm like, whoa, like, how far are you?
I did have, what did I have? Veal on a menu. And there were some folks who were just like, I don't know, can I have the vegetarian option?
It's just the rice.
Just the rice.
Right.
Well, and Samantha, you do such a great job of transforming spaces. I mean, I've seen it in a lot of your events, especially, you know, you've hosted so many here, and, you know, moving things around in the grand space, and, you know, setting up the outside, and just that setting is a different scene. Like, you know, it's great when you have another professional come into your place and put their mark on it, and Samantha does that really well.
Thank you, Chef.
Yes, thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think for this next part of the segment, I would love to have you guys actually ask each other some questions. So that you may be curious about, like as a chef or an event curator, having your own place, your own restaurant. Like, what are the questions that you may have for each other? And I think for me and Miranda, we're really curious about how, you know, because you may intersect and cross over in different, you know, in each other's worlds, but do you often get a chance to really ask some questions of like what it's like to be in your guys' world? So just go ahead and like just any questions off the top of your mind for anybody here.
I guess I can start, chefs. As an event planner, and when you're coming in with a private event or a private dinner or what have you, how can we make your lives easier when it comes to preparation and planning?
I think for me, and you touched on this already, it's making sure we know all the allergies, making sure we know the guest count. As long as all that stuff is taken care of, and it seems like you're pretty free flowing as well. It's like do what you want to do and like handle it the way you handle it, and people are gonna love it. Like that's about as easy as it can get. If we have all the information, we know everything, and then on top of that, you're like, yeah, just do it. Just do it. Nobody cares. Just do it. That's like, sign me up. You know, like, every time I'll give you all the monkfish liver I
have. You know, this brings a story to mind, Samantha, because you're always very organized, and it's like, you know, the sheets, it has everything. I just remember the one time when it was, but where's the VIP table? I'm like, VIP table?
You're like, I have the grand table and that's it.
Yeah, so that I built Samantha a table in about, 45 minutes to an hour for that.
Oh my gosh.
He over-delivered that day.
Jeez.
And it was a great event.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
How much do chefs have to work on the fly like that? Like how, like is
it's
that?
constant.
Oh, okay, it's constant.
all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, I've got an AC unit out right now. My wife's car's acting up. The dish machine's acting up. That's all stuff that I found out this morning. Plus, I forgot I was doing this. So
You should have had 2 glasses of champagne.
Yeah.
Started off the day with a bang.
let's be honest now.
Maybe to end the day, not to start the day. Is that coffee? I don't believe it.
Samantha, I got a question for you. How was the planning of the Baird Gala?
Oh my gosh, that was phenomenal. It was a team of 5 of us, and we all had different roles for the grand opening. So we had Levy with catering, Underwood Events with logistics, and then myself along with Oscar Sanchez at Ambrosia. We were both the event managers for different areas. And David Caruso, shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
He really, really did his thing with, keeping us on task and organized and like really making us stretch our limits when it came to innovation. And that event was the most innovative I've seen at a gala here in Milwaukee. So it was fantastic. I learned a lot, such great mentors and leaders to work alongside with pulling off an 1,100 person event like that. And with people hanging from the ceiling and it was just it was one of those. So yeah, it was it was a fantastic event and production team to be a part of.
Awesome.
Wow.
Totally.
Do you has everybody gotten a tour of the new Baird Center? I haven't gotten it yet.
No, I haven't.
I've seen all the running around at Expo Hall for a week straight for setup and breakdown. We started on that Monday and ended on Friday, so the event was on a Thursday. So it was a big deal. Mapping out areas for loading and unloading and storage for the big productions and.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I heard the event was amazing.
It was.
Hard work paid off.
It did.
Fortunately, I couldn't attend. My ticket must have gotten lost in the mail, but that's okay.
Man.
In my defense, I had no say-so in the ticket.
I get it.
It's like, wow, man. Well, cool. I think, Adam, any questions for anybody?
So for you, just to kind of flip the question on you, because I know chefs are the easiest people to work with, right, Dave? We're very level-headed and
Absolutely.
we're very on point. But what do you look for, like working with chefs and restaurant owners and just setting these events up?
Really just knowing your capacities and what you can handle and, how far in advance you need dietary restrictions or changes or what can I do, how much fun can I have in the space to transform it? What are my limits there? I think that's really it, just understanding how your team works together and your expectations for, how you want us to work in your space as well. So I don't, do anything that, I shouldn't be. But I think that's really it. Just full transparency, I think, is the best way all the way around in hospitality in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, from the guest to who you're working
Yeah.
with to your employees, transparency and yeah.
Yep. And then, there are some cases when, I got to add a couple seats at the last minute and like, are you flexible with that? And, how do you manage those things? And, if it's a no, then that's fine, but, at least we can talk about it and see how we can make things work.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's cool. What's the most common myth for a chef? Let's do some myth busters.
That we eat what we cook when we go home. I have because
Really?
trust me, we do not. I eat Tyson frozen chicken tenders almost every day of my life. Every day.
I always felt like chefs preparing the most
no.
amazing meals. Their friends and family just love them because
I
they're
guess
always
no time.
Not
Really,
a chance.
is that what it is?
Well, it's like we spoke before the show. It's like you have to do all the work to get there. And I know for me, like my girlfriend's also in the industry.
Okay.
So it's like we're both running around crazy. We have a kid now, so it's like I go home, I'll eat a half a bag of pretzels and drink like a root beer and be like, I'm good.
just because you're on the move, right?
Yeah,
Just
well,
because it's a rapid pace.
Well, just
thing.
the time too. It's like you spend 12 hours doing it, and then to go home and want to
Yeah.
do another
And do
hour of
again,
it.
yeah,
And
that's
it's not that
true.
you're not passionate about it, but it's just like, no, I'm good.
Just want to
You're
do
tired.
nothing.
I'm good. I'm tapping out. Doritos sounds so good right now. Like somebody else can cook. That's great. I love when people cook for me. I don't want to. No, I'm good on that, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you say that because like, you don't get invited out to other people's homes a lot when you're a chef. Unless,
You don't?
No.
and it's like
You're welcome
Hey.
anytime, David. Let me give you the address after this, man. You're welcome anytime, bro.
like you know what, pizza sounds good to me.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, to piggyback on that, we're in the we've got the Food Network and all these wonderful cooking shows, and that really brought the culinary arts to the mainstream. But, it's not all flash in the pan what you see on the TV. I remember watching Emerald when, because my grandma was in love with him. And every time he said garlic, she was like, ah! But all that mise en place put together, all those things, it's like, yeah, we're sweeping, we're mopping, we're repairing things, getting a hold of the vendors. If you're working with farmers, it's really hard to, they're in the field and your schedules are different and trying to procure the right ingredients, like all that kind of stuff you don't see on TV, and it's like, people, like, oh, I want to be a chef, young culinarians, and they go to school, and it's not easy. It's not cut out for everybody,
Wow.
You got I look at it as, young culinarians, when they're coming out of culinary school, it's like, that's great. You're going to start in the dish area, which is the best place to start because now you know what tools are available, what the cleanliness level should be, where everything goes, then you can come into the kitchen and start.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for one of those Rachel Ray ovens where she pulls it out and it's perfect and it's done. And it's like 30-minute meals, baby.
It doesn't work
all
like
done. Like one of those futuristic,
Right.
beautiful ovens.
The Willy Wonka oven.
that's
right.
Where
TV magic right
there.
What about for you, Samantha? What are some of the common myths or a myth that you can bust in the event world and also curating these experiences?
That I can do it all by myself. Which I do, essentially, but I need support and help, and I have, assistants that I lean on, who both work full time, so it's usually more of a day of support that I get the most. But yeah, I think that might be they just see it come to life, but they don't understand the prep and planning and an amount of planning that goes into a big event. Or even I do celebrations and corporate events. So certain things start start to get planned, 10 months out, 8 months, depending on how large it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time during the day that's dedicated to just mapping out the aesthetic.
Right.
And then you get into the programmatic things, and
Yeah.
then you get into lighting and, just different elements to pull something together. So it takes time, and it takes attention to detail, and it takes a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. The end result always looks like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
If I see it on the plate, you're like, oh, I could do that. Or you see an event, like, oh, yeah, I mean, just some things here and there, I could do that.
Yeah.
But it's so much that goes into
and to that point, I had a prospect, and I sent a proposal, and they're like, oh, it's kind of out of budget for me.
Yeah.
I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
And then they called me like, I need help.
I could not do it myself. Actually.
Yeah, actually not.
I tried it.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
may need
reason
some
you
help.
you have these skills, right?
Yeah.
It's not easily replicable.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I think kind of in closing as a last question, unless you have a question. As well?
Yeah. Since Visit Milwaukee, would love to know what keeps you all in Milwaukee, and what would a must experience in Milwaukee be for someone visiting?
What keeps me in Milwaukee is, my family started here, but I just fell in love with the food scene and how accessible everything is. Because I wasn't planning on staying. It was always build up some money, go to Chicago, get out of Dodge. But now that I'm here and I'm in it, and like the community of young chefs that we have, and everybody's like really close, and it feels so much more personal than in a bigger city where you're just kind of like, you're just one of the guys you're around. So just the community here is amazing, and that's more than enough reason to stay. So, and go to Szechuan if you haven't been to Szechuan. Go to Szechuan.
Recommendation.
I would piggyback off of that and say the community for me. When I got back here from Chicago in 2011, I tried so hard to go back to Chicago. And my mom's like, yeah, just you can regroup and go back at any point. And I've been here ever since. And I feel like the community, and with everything, it seems far away, but it's really within reach. And it's the people it's the summertime Milwaukee, it's all of that. And there's so many amazing events that go on here. So I just love the collaboration. All of that is what helps, what's keeping me here for now. For now.
No, forever, actually.
Forever. What about you, David?
Yeah, you're only as good as the people that you're surrounded with. And that is, obviously for me, it's my employees and my family, employees, my friends, the guests that come here, our corporate partners, our vendors, and then, the other culinarians and people that work in this business in this wonderful city that we have. It is a pretty good tight-knit group, and I think we still can expand on that and collaborate more and do things. We all get hit up for donations constantly. I know that we get at least 5 or 6 of those envelopes a week, and it's like you want to help everybody. And I know all the restaurants are getting that, and hopefully we can figure out a way that everyone can benefit, And so I've been trying to have those conversations with other chefs and owners of restaurants. We don't have, this industry doesn't have a big bottom line, but we entertain better than anyone else.
Right.
And so people want to have that, and they want a donation of that, and it's really hard to give that a lot.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we can figure that out. We've got our work to do in this city, but it is a great place to be. And there's, we've got, I would say, if you have an opportunity to see the streets of Old Milwaukee at the Public Museum, go and do it, because I don't think they're going to put that in the new museum when they move it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until 2026 you have. So.
2026?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's in the new one.
See it as many times as you can. I love that space. The first time I saw it, I was 6, and I've got to cook on the streets there half a dozen times, and I just think it's one of the coolest things that we have, and it's not going to be around for much longer. So
Definitely got to do a brewery too.
Yeah. You got to. I mean, that's just like
there's so many good things to do,
Yeah.
especially in summer. So we got a great community here.
All right, we have recommendations on drinks, brewery tour, food, Szechuan, activity, public museum. I think we're good.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're good for a full day in Milwaukee.
You'll catch anything in the summertime.
Yeah,
Oh,
summer and fall it's going down. I was just downtown Milwaukee a few days ago, and it's the weather is just amazing in the summer. Like, it just doesn't beat a lot of different places like that. Just that cool air that kind of comes through, and then you got the river running through. It's just like there's so much going on too. There's like a parade or something was going on, and there's different events, and there's a wedding that was like right across the street, and there's like so much happening all in like one spot. And I was like, this is pretty dope.
It's the perfect place to be, June through September.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the year, it's only like just under perfect, but absolutely perfect during
That's
the
a
summertime.
good way to put it.
Yeah, just under perfect.
We
Awesome.
get the seasons. It's awesome.
I'm gonna start using that.
Well, cool. You guys want to really quick just shout out your socials. How can people get connected to you, and also for what? So let people know, like, hey, this is what you do, and how to get connected.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll kick us off. So Samantha Mitchell, SamanthaStarEvents.com is where you can find me for my website. Social media is at Samantha Star Events on Facebook and Instagram. And I offer full service planning for celebrations, corporate events, curated experiences. And I also host my own annual events that you'll learn about as you learn to follow me, or as you start to follow me.
Sweet.
You can find 1033 on Instagram at 1033mke.com, and you can also find me on Instagram at chefsnacksmke.
The Chef's Table is chefs-tablemke.com, and we've got a nice website there. There's a portal to see all the other things that we have, the schedule of events, the different rooms that you can book, and then you can also send in a request for a certain space at a certain time. And don't forget, we don't have a sign outside. The door's always locked, but that is intentional. So just let us know you're coming and we'll get you in.
Awesome. And then where are all the places they can find Visit Milwaukee?
Visit Milwaukee, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, all at Visit Milwaukee. Check us out.
Sweet. Well, thank you all so much for being on the show. I think a lot of people got some nuggets, some places to go. We cracked some myths along the way. I got to try this liver.
Come on in,
Monk
man.
liver.
We got it for you. We got it.
I got to have David at my house so he can cook some food.
Go!
But it's been absolutely incredible just kicking back with everybody. And make sure that if you are watching this show, that stay tuned, subscribe to all the channels. Make sure that you stay tuned for all future episodes that are going to drop. And keep it fresh. We're out. Peace.
Thank you.
See ya.